I think the best that I've come to is recognizing that every day is a new day, and that someday you're going to kick ass as a mom, and the next day you kick ass as a business owner, and the third day you kick ass as a wife. You let maybe the guilt of the other things go for the day, and you just really appreciate.
Hello and welcome to the comealive podcast. Today I have someone very special with me. She's a friend and a very successful entrepreneur. She does something I love. So let's introduce her. A graduate in psychology and economics, a CFA charter holder, arrived in Dubai in the year 2006 with a vision to work in finance. Today she is an award-winning entrepreneur who won Micro Business of the Year at the Gulf Capital SME Awards, has been covered in multiple magazines and newspapers including Arabian Business, The National and many more. She is none other than Mary Christie, the founder of Fruitful-day. So welcome, Mary.
Thank you so much for having me, Meher.
So I'll call you MC because that's what you're known to me as.
Everybody knows me as MC. After I get done introducing myself as Marie Christine, it goes.
So how did the name MC come about?
In college, it became my nickname.
I see. So it's been carried over since a long time.
Yes, yeah, and it stuck.
So I love the quote you say in most of your interviews, which is, "No risk, no story. And the story is the best part, no matter what the outcome." What does this mean for you?
I think, if you go into something with a very specific idea of how it's going to end up, you're going to end up disappointed because things never actually turn out the way that you imagine to turn them out, whether that's good or bad or even in between. But whatever it is that you're doing, if you're learning along the way, that is moving forward, that is progress, and that is the opportunity itself. And so rather embrace the journey than the outcome. And if you move into it with positive forward momentum, I'm sure something good will happen, but none of us can say what.
I love it. I love it. So, there is a saying in the Bhagavad Gita, the Indian scriptures, that do what is right to be done for the sake of it being right, and do not be attached to the outcome.
That's right.
And that's actually how I live and love my journey. Because the journey itself is the reward. There is no reward at the end. What is the destination that people talk about? There is no destination. It's about the journey. So I love what you just said. And it's so beautiful to be able to live with that motto in mind.
Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, your journey, the move from finance to fruits, which I love, of course.
To start with, I feel like all I've done my life is move. So I've moved countries a lot of times. I grew up between Switzerland, Germany, America, and moved to Dubai. And so I've always spent my life being different places, learning different things, trying new things. And so I had worked in banking for roughly 6 years, and I was pregnant with my first daughter, my first child. And I took a year off, and in that year, I just really felt that itch again to see some sort of change in my life. And after I was finished with my maternity, things weren't the same at the bank anymore. And so it was just time for something different. And I was very blessed because two people I worked with at the bank I was at were interested in starting a business together. Their wives were interested in starting a business with me. And so that's how Fruitful-day came to fruition. It wasn't like it had a perfect business plan or anything like that. I just knew I wanted to work with these two individuals. And so I thought everything else will be fine. If we're working together, we'll figure it out. I wasn't somebody that necessarily had thought about entrepreneurship as like where I would end up. I really think I stumbled into it, and I'm so glad I did. Fruitful-day started, it's a fresh fruit and healthy snacking company. And in the beginning, we started by trying to promote healthy snacking in the workplace. So really from the bank I worked at, right? We were there long hours, there were chips, there was chocolate, a lot of money spent on floral arrangements and all sorts of other things. But when it came to actually taking care of the employees, having something healthy in the office, there wasn't anything. And so I felt that I could take my experience as an employee and what I would have liked to have seen when I was an employee and use that to start a fruit company and deliver something that has a purpose that can change people's lives in the office. And that's how Fruitful-day started. So I didn't have a background in fruits at all. I just had a background being an employee. And then now it's grown into so much more. But again, back to this point of being on the journey, you just keep evolving.
Absolutely. And I love it. I love the journey. And I also saw so much of faith, right? You said when you started your journey, it was just that you wanted to work with these women and you wanted to do something meaningful rather
Yes.
than not do anything. And that's how you started. So that's like, taking the leap of faith, being and living in faith and seeing how the outcome will happen. Like, anyways, it's a beautiful journey, kind of. I love it. I love how you started your journey itself. That itself gives so much, I think, motivation to people, because it's always about business, numbers, let's see the business plan. And then people, the momentum is lost. The passion, I feel the drive is lost, rather than saying that let's just do it and I'm sure it'll be fine.
And you grow into it. And I mean, the amazing thing is we're still partners today. We still talk all the time. We still value each other's advice. So I wasn't wrong in the one thing I knew, which is that I wanted to be in business with them.
Amazing. Beautiful. So how do you feel being an entrepreneur, being a mother, being a wife? And as women, we always have to wear several hats, also be doing the duties or having those roles fulfilled, because that's the role of a mother or role of a woman. So how do you feel about that?
I mean, I feel I'm doing something that makes me really happy, being an entrepreneur. But I'm not going to lie and say there's not guilt involved, because when you're in the office or you're going to an event because you need to further your business, you are leaving behind your husband or your children. And so you're making a choice. I think the best that I've come to is recognizing that every day is a new day. And that someday you're going to kick ass as a mom, and the next day you kick ass as a business owner, and the third day you kick ass as a wife. And you've made that choice for the day, and you commit to it fully, and you let maybe the guilt of the other things go for the day, and you just really appreciate that role for the day, because I felt that those days that I've tried to do it all in the same day, I'm not really successful, and I end up not feeling I've succeeded in any of them. It's not to say that I put my kids to the side for 3 days, don't get me wrong, but you understand,
Yes, of course.
Weekends for me are fully
For the kids.
for the family. Yeah, that's it,
I
right?
agree.
But during the week, work has to get done. And so sometimes, yeah, you do have to sacrifice.
So I actually came to this realization few months ago when I was trying to do it all in one day, but then I was just feeling very tired, and even my mind I was not being able to disconnect and connect back.
Yeah.
So what I thought to myself, though I meet them, of course, every single day in the evening, but what I thought to myself is like, I allow myself to be an entrepreneur for 4.5 days a week.
Yeah.
So it's up until 3:30 on a Friday.
Yeah.
And after that, those 2.5 days are completely for the children.
That's right.
Of course, if they're at a class or something, I'll probably go in and do my podcast or do my recording or something like that. But otherwise, it revolves around their schedule. So I'm fully available for them those 2.5 days.
Yeah.
And that gives me a lot of satisfaction, because I know I have a direction and I've allowed myself that leeway.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think a lot about is that how does it make me grow as a person? So I want to know from you, how does being an entrepreneur grow you as a person?
How does it help me grow me as a person? I mean, look, when you're an employee in a company, you generally have a sort of specific role and you get very good at one thing. And then when you don't know how to do something or something's not in your department, you have someone who you can call, who's the specialist in that thing. And, you assemble a team or you have a meeting and you can figure it out. The buck doesn't stop with you. But when you're an entrepreneur, the buck stops with you. And like in my case, I'm not so big that I have a specialist in every area of my company. And so you end up having to wear so many hats. And then you think there's this hat that like, I definitely can't do that thing. And then you chip away at it and you learn. And then you realize, I can do this, then I can do the next thing, and then I can do the next thing. So, being an entrepreneur is kind of like...
makes you learn and grow in every area.
Yeah, it just doesn't give you a choice but to be brave each and every day. So
I love it. Yeah. Definitely. I think entrepreneurs need to be courageous for every single day, to show up every day for your team, for your stakeholders, for everyone. And that itself is courage, I feel.
Yeah, that's right.
So what do you hold as values at home, in the company? How do you, if you are okay to share your values with us? How does that work with you and your company and your culture? I mean, of course, we've learned so much about it in EO, and I love to speak about this. So if
Sure. I mean,
you
I
can
think
share something.
personally, I'm very big on honesty. But that's first and foremost. I'm very big on kindness, treating people equally, and I always try and teach my children that. And then I think me as a person, I find that I'm happiest when I make others happy. So I just love to have a happy home, happy friendships. And that's not to say there's not difficult times, but the point is you're there for people. You try to bring them up, that's the energy. And so Fruitful-day for me from day one has matched that, because it's not just about health. It's also about happiness and bringing that little bit of happiness into people's lives. So that value comes across from family to work. Our values at Fruitful-day are around being inspiring, being committed to our clients, really being leaders in how we do things, having a commitment that when there's two choices and one is the more healthful choice, one is the more sustainable choice, one is the more professional choice, that we make that choice. But for me, that again comes back to the same underlining things of being truthful and being kind to your customers, being kind to your children. These are no different, right? You and also amongst the employees, we talk a lot about the fact that we have so much diversity at work, but that we are here all together, and we have to let that go, and we have to see that everybody might be having a tough day, and to come together.
That's amazing. For me, that's love. That's also love and compassion.
Yeah.
Kindness is a part of love and compassion, and how you deal with everybody compassionately. The very fact that you said that everybody could be facing some challenge, so to be able to be kind with each other in the organization, irrelevant of where they come from, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful, and that actually gets me to my next question. What is self-love for you, and what is the definition of self-love in your life?
So I don't have a direct answer for you, because I feel I'm on a journey and I have not necessarily arrived. I would say growing up, it's not that my parents didn't have self-love, but I don't think we talked about it in that way. It wasn't such a topic either, right? Like 20 years ago.
Not at all.
So I'm not, it takes a while to get comfortable with the idea that self-love is not selfish, that it's not taking away from others in your lives, that it's actually improving the lives of those people around you. So if I don't have a direct answer, it's because I feel I'm on some sort of journey. When I jumped into entrepreneurship, I had so much self-doubt. Can I? Will I fail? What happens if this goes wrong, right? Am I good enough? All these things. This person's doing better. It's normal, right? All of us have this sort of imposter syndrome. And I feel like the next step for me has been moving into self-awareness, to just say that isn't necessarily based in reality. Know myself better, accept myself better. And then I would say the next phase after that is moving into this sort of self-love, self-appreciation, self-compassion. But I find it hard, when you're busy with everything else. So I'm not sure I've arrived, but
But I love what you said just now, saying that it's self-awareness.
Yeah.
So what I heard right now is that you compacted self-doubt with kind of self-awareness, saying that it'll be fine, you'll be fine, you can do this. It's like positive self-talk.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's amazing, because that is the first step. That is the first step to the journey of trusting the universe, trusting the process, and actually progressing in life.
Yeah, I think when you've crossed enough bridges, then you're sure you can cross the next one, right? So that's what all those experiences add up to. There's also something magical about getting older. There's a lot of things probably that we don't want to accept, but one of the things that is true is you do start to grow into yourself, right? And you start to accept yourself and appreciate that you're unique. This need to sort of fit in. Absolutely. I feel lessens over time, and that's actually a beautiful thing.
Yeah, definitely. And I like how you said that I'm getting to know myself better.
Yeah.
So that's the evolutionary process, and that's beautiful. Yeah. So what makes you alive at Fruitful-day? What do you love doing about the business part of it? Like, what aspect of the business do you love?
I mean, if you leave me alone, I love to brainstorm and be creative. We talked about this a little bit before. Detail is not my thing, right? So if you stick me with the paperwork and the 20 lines need to be filled in, I'll miss 5 of them for sure. But if you leave me with a bunch of Post-its and like just an opportunity to be creative, to brainstorm, to look for what's next, how to improve things, like I'm in my element. I'm happy.
That's nice.
Yeah.
And that's so nice to know yourself on that aspect as well, because as a business owner, as a business leader, I feel we really need to know ourselves to be able to contribute in the right area.
And also know there's always a flip side of your strength. So the flip side of my strength of having a zillion ideas is nobody wants to execute a zillion ideas, right? So then you need someone in your team that says, wonderful, but which ones are we going to pick? And let's see those through rather than do 20 things and nothing really ends up done. So, there's a flip side to every strength.
Absolutely. And that's why I think we're a team, right? At work, there's a team, because it's always about the team and how the team succeeds. I tell my team members as well, it's not about me or it's not about the other directors. It's about us as a whole, because that's when we are whole. It's everybody contributes to each other, and that's how we become powerful.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So how and what do you do to enjoy the journey of life? At work, in your family?
I think
to live in the moment, enjoy the journey.
Yeah, I think to jump to work to family, I feel like when you're a child again is when you slow down and enjoy and ground yourself. And like for me, that can mean anything, right? Going swimming with the kids, playing a board game with the kids, going into nature with the kids, seeing through their eyes that they're doing something for the first time. But I feel like it's never the fancy experiences or like, it's not stuff that brings you to like joy and happiness. It's this like centering yourself and actually the simple things and taking the moment to enjoy them.
I think it's just about absorbing the life as it is, doing the simple things with people you love.
Yeah.
And that's what enjoying the journey is.
Yeah, that's it.
I love it. Yeah,
So,
I think that would be exactly my answer.
Yeah.
If I had to say that, what do I do to enjoy the journey? Yeah, it's picking up the kids from school, speaking to them. I have 2 girls, so it's about the chatter. This happened, that happened, and things like that. That's the beauty of it, I think.
Yeah.
Planning things with them, sleeping with them, watching a movie with them.
Yeah. The other day in the car, my daughter had dreamed up something she was drawing and she needed extra characters, and she asked my son. And he started drawing characters. And she said, oh, I really like that character. Can you make another one like that? And, you have those car rides when everything's wrong and everybody hates everything. Everything, doesn't go the way. But that was like just one magical one where you feel there's so much love here. And it's the simple things that really matter.
I agree. I totally agree. It is the simple things that matter in life.
Yeah.
So what are the lessons in your journey that you would like to share with our audiences?
So I think one of my business partners once told me, the thing I admire about you is you keep failing, but you never let you down. Like you just say, oh, I tried that and this is what I learned. And so next time I won't try that. So don't take failure as anything other than an opportunity to learn and try and put that positive spin on things, even when they're difficult, and see the opportunity. That would be one. 2, I became aware over time how my mood was so much impacted by what was happening in my business. And so trying to be aware of that, coming back to this point of self-awareness, that you are not your business. You are not the roller coaster that the business is. You are your own person. Even if you have bad days, you can still try to separate that and find joy in something else, some of the other things that we brought up. That would be second. And the third, which I'm sure you'll agree with me on, is surround yourself with people who you can talk to about this stuff and go deep. Don't sugarcoat it, because the more vulnerable you are, the more you'll see you're not alone in whatever the heck you're going through. We're all working on something. We're all struggling with something.
Absolutely. We are the 5% of who we hang out with. And I guess that's why we are part of the Entrepreneurs Organization. So we can learn and grow together.
Yeah.
Lovely. I love your 3 lessons. And I think that'll add a lot of value to a lot of people who hear this. So thank you. And the last question I'd like to ask you is that what is the impact and contribution you would like to make in this world?
Oh, you gave me this question in advance, and I'm glad you did. Because it's tough. When you're on the journey and where your business is still growing, you feel so involved in it, and you feel where is there that space to add another element to your day? But I do like to volunteer my time back. I feel at this point, I probably have a lot of lessons for someone starting up a business. So I think like in the near term, I would like to mentor. And then over time, I would like to turn that into something bigger, but I don't know what today. I can't tell you today what that is. But again, back to the point of where we started actually speaking, which is if I know exactly what the outcome is, I will end up disappointed. Rather, let me go on this journey of knowing that it feels good to give back and I want to keep finding ways to do so. And in time, that will present itself, that will turn into something, I'm sure.
It's beautiful. And yeah, of course, I know you're on the board of the Entrepreneurs Organization and you are already giving back to the community and to fellow entrepreneurs. So thank you for that. I mean, I've been an EO for 9 years and it's been one of the most beautiful journeys of my life and most beautiful and growing parts of my life. So thank you so much. Thank you for today. Thank you for coming. Thank you for honoring this show with your presence and your learnings. Wishing you all the best, lots of love always.
Thank you, Maher.
To a brighter, more fruitful future.
Oh, lovely. Keep holding the torch for self-love. We haven't all arrived, but we need to continue on the journey.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you
Maher.
again.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode with MC Mary Christie from Fruitful-day. Please leave us a like and a comment wherever you're hearing this, and hit the subscribe button, the notification bell if you're watching us on YouTube. Thank you again and lots of love.